the land. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dick Morris.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, the recession's over. Y'all having a good time? It didn't just end either. It ended in June of 2009. It's been over for 14 months. And you know what? They're right. The recession is over. That's the scary part. This is the new normal. This is what it's going to be like for the rest of our lives if we don't take back Congress. You know, when you have 10% unemployment rate in the middle of a recession, hey, the recession's going to end and we'll go back to normal times. The rain clouds will move away and the sun will come out. But it's not the rainy season, but it's still raining. This is the new normal. This is not cyclical. We have overcome the recession that started in 2007. And we are now suffering from the cure to the recession that Barack Obama passed in 2009. It's the cure that's making us sick. It's like the Middle Ages. When somebody was sick, they said, it's because he has evil spirits. So they opened up his arm and they took out his blood to get rid of the evil spirits. Then when the poor son of a gun was half dead, they said, see, he still has evil spirits in there, and they bled out some more. And then when they continued to bleed him, he dropped dead from lack of blood, and they said, I told you, he had evil spirits. Well, that is what Barack Obama is doing when he increases spending and borrows the money and tells us it's the cure to this recession. It's not. It's the disease that will make things worse. So he says, let's have a nice recovery. Let's all do well. But don't spend any money, because I'm going to hit you with tax increases next year that are going to make your hair stand on edge. I'm going to raise the tax rate up to 40%. I'm going to impose a 4% Medicare tax on top of that. I'm going to raise the capital gains tax up to 24% in effect. I'm going to raise the dividend tax so it gets taxed as ordinary income. I'm probably going to eliminate the ceiling on Social Security taxes so that that blessed day in August or September when your check goes up because you paid off Social Security, that's not going to happen. And he'll probably impose a national sales tax, a VAT, on top of the income tax. So feel free to go out and spend money, but if I were you, I wouldn't do it. So when I look at the stimulus spending and the tax increases that are coming next year, I feel like a hog being fattened up for slaughter. So I produce a lot of bacon. And the United States is totally dependent on consumer spending. Most countries live off our consumer spending, but 75% of our economy comes from the consumers. And how exactly are you going to encourage consumer spending when you're raising taxes by $200 billion going into the next year? You're not going to be able to do that. And where are the jobs going to come from? Who's going to create the jobs? Well, very often jobs are created because entrepreneurs reinvest their profits. They make money and they plow it back into the business. Well, if you're 70 or 75 or 80, I know that doesn't apply to anybody in this room, particularly none of the women. But if you could sort of imagine in the future, seriously, what a wonderful crowd this is of young people. And you're the head of something called like Morris Industries. And I want to build it up and make it big and strong and pass it on to my heirs and it'll live on and I'll be immortal and all of that stuff. and it's worth 10 million bucks, and I make $1 million, I'm going to want to plow it back into the business. I'm going to want to have new product lines, new salesmen, a new sales force, a new wing on my factory. But if I'm 75 years old, I'm not going to do that because I might die tomorrow. And if I do, then my son and daughter are going to have to come up with $4 million bucks to give to the federal government in inheritance taxes within 160 days of my death. So I'm not going to take that money and reinvest it. I'm going to put it under my mattress or in a stock or in a savings account or a checking account where it doesn't do anybody any good because I'm scared to death of the taxes that are going to come. And since 75% of all capital in the United States is inherited from one generation to the next, this guarantees that no older entrepreneur is going to create a single job as long as the threat of this inheritance tax is hanging over his head. Now, I don't care about the 1 or 2% of the people that have to pay the tax. They're pretty rich. But I sure care about the jobs that they're not going to create because of the threat of this tax. That I care about. And the other place you can get money from is a bank, right? You can borrow money and use it to expand your operation. Well, not now, because the new Federal Financial Regulatory Act says that if you make loans that are bad, and we judge that you are an imprudent lender, making imprudent loans, we, the federal government, the Secretary of the Treasury, without judicial review, without even any firmly established legislative criterion, can come in and fire you personally, fire your staff, replace your whole board of directors, wipe out your shareholder equity, which includes your pension, your 401k, and sell off units of your bank. So take risks, make loans, be my guest. Just you better be darn sure that every dime of that is repaid. And by the way, if you find this a little too risky for your blood, and you'd rather be a little safer than that with your own job and your pension, lend the money to me, the government. You're getting it for free. There's no interest rate. You're getting it at 1/4 point. Lend it to me and I'll pay you 3.5. And a 3.25 point spread is enough for your stockholders. Everybody will be happy. You can't not make money. You're borrowing for nothing and you're lending it to the government at 3.5. So don't give it to that guy over there who wants a house, and that woman over there who wants to buy a car, and those people over there who want to set up a shopping center, and those people there who want to set up an entertainment complex. Don't give it to any of them. Give it to the federal government, and it's risk-free, you won't lose your job, and you'll make a nice, healthy return. That's how he's stimulating the economy. And what sector precisely is going to create jobs? Well, tick them off. The medical industry, the health industry, is 16% of our economy. They going to create jobs? Is anybody in their right mind in the health industry going to buy a CAT scan machine and open a radiology clinic and hire 10 or 12 people when next year the government's going to disallow the reimbursement for it? When the government is shrinking it and cutting back on Medicare? Who in their right mind is going to expand that facility, cross that off for job creation? The federal regulations won't allow it. And how about the manufacturing sector? That's 11% of our economy. They're going to create jobs with the threat of cap and tax looming over their heads, where next year they could pass cap and trade, meaning cap and tax, and suddenly you're going to have to pay a tax on all your energy. Manufacturing in the United States caught a big break a few years ago when energy prices rose, because it meant that it cost more to ship the goods from China to here than the difference in wages between China and the United States. And as a result, manufacturing began to move back into the United States. But now he's going to tax energy, and China and India are not. And the competitive disadvantage will be wiped out, and the jobs will all be outsourced.